Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another commentary done by Sunday, and we have a very special matchup today. We actually have a game between LiquidHuk and, you guessed it, EGIdra. This is going to be cross position on Shakuras Plateau. Let's go party, work that body. Oh, classic EGIdra, not to say a word in response. Huk and EGIdra, I wouldn't say they're best buddies. EGIdra has talked down on Huk's play in the past, saying he's just some cheesy noob, stuff like that. But nonetheless, Huk is a very, very talented player, and EGIdra is a very talented player as well. So we are going to see a battle of some of the best players. Both of these players are actually in Korea, which is pretty interesting, considering just how fast the Korean StarCraft 2 scene has grown with the GSL and all. But this is a coverage brought to you by a partnership with the Rush Network. Glad to be a part of them. Check us out at www.therushnetwork.com. But nonetheless, Huk in the bottom left as the blue Protoss, and all the way over in the top right is EGIdra as the red Zerg. So some cross-position PvZ action on Shakuras Plateau. A very, very interesting map, very macro-heavy, so definitely going to give it a little edge to EGIdra right from the get-go. I feel he is indeed the better player, but nonetheless, we see a simple wall-off here from Huk. Going to go ahead and see him pop down. Actually, a 14 gate, it looks like. No gateway as of yet. Okay, things are getting a little interesting. Gonna go ahead and grab a mineral patch. Not exactly sure what he's planning to do, but looks like he is indeed gonna go. We are gonna see a 14 pool from EGIdra. Finally, the gateway popping down. Very late gateway, gonna allow him to get a lot of probes out, and now he's gonna follow it up with a quick another pylon and a gas. So standard play thus far from both players. Although obviously there's a little bit of an advantage for Huk just gathering that, going with the later gateway, allowing him to produce just that many more probes. But Overlord scouting in the wrong direction. EGIdra with no idea quite yet what's going on. Looks like Huk is just going to try to delay this natural expansion. Might even throw down a pylon. Very Huk-like indeed. Very, very annoying with the probe. But yeah, two very high-level players here. Actually just got done with a long day of live commentaries for some amateur play, so it feels really good to get back here and do some top-level play. And my overall quality of video streaming has really skyrocketed, so very happy about that. Sorry about the low mic volumes and not the full screen. Do apologize on behalf of the Rush Network and myself. But nonetheless, we do have a queen popping out for EGIdra. Very standard play thus far. Looks like another drone coming out here for scouting. Finally going to get to its opponent's base. Cybernetics core warping it, and the second gas. We might even see a tech route. Huk is a very, very strong Protoss. Loves Colossi play, but doesn't love Thermal Lance. It's kind of funny. Looks like he's actually going to throw down two pylons. Really going to try to delay this natural expansion, and indeed it will do that. I'm interested to see just how much it does delay, but still working on my mic levels and all that, so please feel free to go ahead and give me comments, criticisms, questions on that. Always trying to look to improve. Nonetheless, it looks like the wall line is almost done. One Zealot finally being chrono boosted out here. Should be out in plenty of time before these lings really can do any damage here. Looks like that one probe just doing a nice job of staying alive, not letting it get really below the shield HP, and then he can keep it alive for quite a long time against those slow lings. Taking a look at the production tab here, speed is just being started, about 1/4 through. Another queen appears to be on the way here so far from EGIdra. That's just his first queen, excuse me, but very standard play thus far. EGIdra is just macroing up here, getting that natural expansion. Looks like the drone is actually going to get in and see stay in and going to see the second and third gateway. Huk revealing his hand. I'm interested to see exactly how he's going to play this off. Probably going to go 3-gate tech, something like that, or 3-gate expansion into tech, excuse me. Very standard play, especially in PvZ, especially cross map. You really can get that expansion up rather early. Looks like the chrono boosting the warp gate, getting about 3/4 of the way through thus far. Looks like he is indeed actually going to throw up a Stargate, which is quite interesting play here. Let's take a look at EGIdra's cam. He did not see it. EGIdra has no idea there is a cam, or has no idea that the Stargate is on the way here. So this could be a little bit strong here for EGIdra. I'm interested to see just exactly how much damage this does, but it looks like a quick layer tech here for EGIdra. If he goes ahead and gets some Meatless out in play, he's going to be able to deal with the Void Ray quite easily, but nonetheless, looks like these lings are just going to put a little bit of harassment on. He has to be a little careful not to let those lings run up in the base, but nothing too much going on. He might pick off the probe. No, he's not. EGIdra just microing the crap out of these lings as of yet, allowing them to do the maximum damage, and he's finally going to run away. Expect a fast expansion relatively soon here. 3 gateways are done. He's going to be able to get out a lot of sentries, a lot of zealots. Really why you see players go sentry heavy is just because they have so much gas to start, and it allows them to use their minerals elsewhere, and for him, he is using them for the Void Rays. There is an Overlord. Could possibly see the Void Rays coming over if that's where he chooses to go. but probably going to poke out when he gets 2 or 3. He might even go alongside his army, or he might just go for some pure void ray harassment. Interested to see how this is going to play. Obviously, if he does go out with everything he needs some sentries to help, and maybe even some cannons to stop any run-bys or just stop any counterattacks. But nonetheless, it does look like Burrow is actually being researched for Idra alongside the Roach Warren. So no sign of anti-air yet. He's going to need a few more queens if he really wants any chance to deal with these Void Rays coming. But looks like just one Void Ray is out. Second Void Ray on the way. Let's take a look at where that is actually queued up. It is queued up all the way to behind the natural expansion. So he's going to be putting pressure on probably after the second Void Ray pops, and the natural expansion is coming up quickly. And Idra, let's take a look at the harvester count, though. 38, 40 drones for Idra. Idra really macroing up hard here, guys. Looks like the Burrow is about 3/4 done, too, which can be a bit tricky. It allows those roaches to regen HP and allows them to last just that much longer. It looks like the 4th gas coming up here, so we could see some more tech coming out of when will we see the 3rd base come out of Idra. Idra definitely someone who loves standard and macro play. Looks like he has grabbed the Overseer speed. Looks like the natural expansion is up. Expect probes to be transferred momentarily, and here come the probes to be transferred. Nice timing thus far by Huk. Very standard play. Here comes an Overspear, a couple speed Overlords, and looks like the 3rd has come down as well. So here comes the 2 Void Rays. They're going to be revealed by these Overlords. I think he might have saw it here. Looks like those are running back. Let's see if we take a look at the production tab. Nothing as of yet. Hydralis Den, though, almost halfway up. He's going to be able to deal with this without too much damage, I feel, but he is a little thin on queens right now. Hydralis Den and Loop Evolution Chamber coming up. He really needs to get to both those queens here. These Void Rays are going to go straight for the natural gas, and they're going to go ahead and get hit. He needs to micro these. Almost taking out one queen. One Void Ray getting low. He needs to micro that back. Transfuse not enough, and he needs to micro back the hurt one. Will he? Barely microing back. Huk barely saving that one, and he's actually going to take out both queens, which will allow him to free reign momentarily while 8 Hydralisks are on the way. Looks like he finally did lose the 1 Void Ray. Just focusing down some drones. Drones forced the transfer, but here come the 8 Hydralisks. 9 Hydralisks now popping out for Idra. Idra should be able to take care of this without too much more trouble. And it looks like finally with the Queen, here come the Hydralisks. Nicely done by Huk to not lose any more of those Void Rays. Looks like he has actually stopped Void Ray production temporarily, grabbing the 3rd and 4th gas. Very standard play thus far. I like the Void Ray play. They are becoming so popular, and I hear in the future patch they're supposed to get boosted anymore. I think really Void Rays are going to become a huge part of a PvZ and PvT play if I had to guess. Probably not so much PvP, but nonetheless, looks like Huk is going to try to get a little aggressive here. Looks like he's actually going to bring the Void Rays with his army. Interested to see how well the Force Field is going to be able to be used here. Looks like he actually did lose. He only has 2 Void Rays. Here he comes. Looks like he's going to try to fry down this 3rd base that has no drones at it thus far with an attack coming. Possibly if he can get up here, he's going to be able to force field it. Is that what he's going for? Maybe able to force field the ramp and not let that hatchery get repaired, but here come the Hydralisks for Idra. Going to push down the throat of into the 3rd base. Nice force fields thus far, but he does lose one. He's trying to focus the high. Just a bit of miss micro here from Huk, and he's going to try to take on this Queen. It will be close, but I think the Queen will win with the help of the Hydralisk, and Huk is pushed all the way back, wasting a couple Void Rays and losing a couple units. And let's go ahead and take a look at the income tab. You can see only 48 drones for so he is in a comfortable situation here, macroing up. He's going to get this 3rd base running. Will we see the Valkyrie, now we're going to see him switch to the Phoenixes. Interesting tech choice here. Obviously, Phoenixes will help with the Mutalisk, but looks like he's going to transition into Robo play. Probably going to grab an Observer. Will we see the Colossi tech? Very, very standard play. Looks like, I'm not exactly sure if that was an Overlord or a unit, but looks like it did get sniped nonetheless. Spreading creep, doesn't want to allow Idra to expand, or doesn't want to allow Huk to expand here or here. Probably going to go ahead and lay some creep down at that expansion momentarily, but he looks like he's going to attack with a group of Hydralisks and a group of Roaches. He's going to try to put pressure on his opponent. Taking a look at the production tab, 2 robotics facilities coming up. We are indeed going to see the switch to Colossi, but for a brief minute here, he's going to be thin on units. He has a couple cannons to support, but he's really going to need to get some units out, ladies and gentlemen, because Idra is coming up this ramp. Really needs to land a couple crucial force fields, and indeed he does, taking care of these Roaches without too much of a problem, but he's really forced to play a very, very defensive game. Finally has a couple Stalkers on the high ground. He really needs to snipe any Overlords to come up there so he can't get the high ground vision, and they're throwing down a couple more force fields as well. Really forced to play defensively though, while Idra just expands and macros up. Expect to see a lot more drones come into play here. Looks like he is 49 over 49. Actually has stopped most of his drone production, producing a lot of units here, and Idra really should be droning up at this moment. Now he could get a nice rotation or 2 of drones and put himself in a nice situation, really get this 3rd mining appropriately and get it saturated to where it needs to be. But looks like he's going to back off. Expect to see Expect to see some more drones come out here, and let's take a look at the production facility. It looks like we're gonna have an additional 2 gateways with the robotics K coming down. No sign of thermal lance as of yet. Obviously, with that Colossi Bay, I would hope Huck's gonna get that. But for EGIdra, he's right there alongside. Got the Spire about 1/4 of the way through. Gonna be able to get those Mutalisks out and put a lot of pressure on those Colossi. But this hatchery is a little bit of a vulnerable spot, obviously being that low HP, but not a huge deal because the Void Ray production has stopped. Looks like Huck is actually gonna take down this back door. I can't see him attacking here. I'd expect him to take this backdoor expansion a bit safer. Looks like the Speedy Overlord's already there, though, to take a look at this. So EGIdra playing very standard thus far. Taking a look at the production tab, he has absolutely pushed out about 15 more drones, but Huck not far behind at all. Huck is looking actually decent in a decent situation, but he's forced in a very defensive situation. Look at this. Has all his cannons up here. Only can force field this ramp for a chance to survive. So very, very, very defensive play here so far from Huck. Doesn't really have a choice. Looks like he's going to take the natural expansion. Fire almost popping up. Mutalisks harassment could be a little dangerous at this expansion if he doesn't cannon up appropriately. But taking a look at Huck's army, it's a bit thin as of yet. Not a ton of bulk to his army, as EGIdra has a massive army, but he really wasn't able to break. So what that did is cost him to make units instead of drones, which really actually does hurt his economy quite a bit, ladies and gentlemen. So Hydralisk Den is up, Spire alongside as well. Thermal Lance is being upgraded. Woo! Everybody celebrate for Huck. He has got the upgrade, which he does not always get. Thermal Lance is usually a guarantee for most players, but for Huck, not so much. So we are actually going to see this transition into Colossi tech. Huck very good at controlling his Colossi. Looks like he's going to take this back third door expansion. Are we going to see EGIdra possibly take a 4th? Maybe even take this 4th. Although this 4th is a little bit more risky. I'd recommend taking this as your 4th first. But nonetheless, a huge army out. Lots of Hydralisks. He's going to need to get some Mutalisks, probably even Corruptors out in play if he wants any chance to deal with a huge bulk of Colossi coming his way. Taking a look at the income tab, 64 over 60. Again, EGIdra not macroing up too hard. The pro production has been quite well. You take a look at these chrono boosting, keeping these nexuses both very low, doing a nice job. Huck playing quite strong thus far, although it did look scary for a moment when he had to force field his ramp with only a small amount of units. I think EGIdra might have been able to push up a little bit harder, but he really wasn't able to deal with the stalkers on the ridge. So nicely played thus far by Huck. Interested to see how these players are going to transition out. You can see Huck knows he's a bit thin. He's stretched all the way to his third base. Looks like he's actually going to move in. He's actually going to push in, going to take out these destructible rocks and going to try to take out the newly formed 4th popping up for EGIdra. I think EGIdra should have expanded here. Probably the smarter move to expand away from your opponent instead of to him. But maybe with the creep sped, he felt confident with it. But nonetheless, looks like he's going to run all the way up into the main. Huck is getting quite aggressive. Looks like Zerg army is a little bit out of position. It does have some corruptors at hand, and I think Huck's going to have to be able to push back here. Those 1 Colossi might just, okay, it's not going to be under fire. Barely escaping with his life here, and looks like he's going to play defensively, putting cannons at his front door, realizing I have to defend 2 fronts. 2-front war, never a good sign, especially with the immobile army made up of Colossi and Stalkers. Finally going to research Blink. Definitely will help against the Roaches. Blink Stalkers so strong against the Roaches, just can make them last that much longer, make them quite a durable force. But not to say anything else, the 4th is up. Looks like Huck is just going to get a couple free hits on these Hydras and then back off. You can see, woo, that one was burning to its death. But nonetheless, he's going to be able to put a lot of pressure on here, kind of dancing back and forth. I don't know if he can really charge up and win there. Obviously, going up the ramp is such a disadvantage for the Protoss army, but nonetheless, he is forced to play kind of defensive. Is he possibly going to take a 4th here? Looks like he's going to switch over to Templar Archives and try to get that Storm Tech as well. So he's going to try to just get the ultimate the ultimate Protoss ball, excuse me. Terran ball sounds like Brood War days, but nonetheless, he's going to try to get that ultimate Protoss force, which just Zerg cannot match. He's actually pushing up here, getting a couple free hits with the Colossi. You look at that Colossi count, 6 Colossi. That is absolutely a deadly force for Huck. What kind of damage will he be able to do it? But look at this, burrowlings everywhere. There is nothing EGIdra doesn't know with this creep spread. Doing a great job, ladies and gentlemen. Looks like he's going to come in here with a couple Broodlords and try to pick off a few Lings or a few Stalkers. The Stalker count needs to stay high if he wants to deal with those. Maybe more Zealots to help deal with the Broodlords. But either way, he's going to continue to push forward. But look at this, the slow spine crawler push that we have seen from EGIdra. Saw it in the GSL play, continuing that. He knows he must secure this expansion, and he knows he must hold it here. Very interesting game thus far, but look at this. 53 drones only remaining. EGIdra's macro not quite where it usually is at this point. He is a fan of 80 drones, 70, 80 drones easily with this many bases, but he's forced to play a little defensively. Broodlord's coming in, getting a few hits, not doing a ton of damage thus far, but really, EGIdra has done nothing to Huk's ultimate army, the ultimate backbone of his army, the Colossi. He is absolutely racking them up all the way up to 8 Colossi, and that is a large force to deal with. This almost looks like PvP, where you just get that outrageous amount of Colossi, and there is just nothing the Zerg can do. He is really going for that ultimate Terran Ball. Looks like EGIdra was almost going to push down that ramp, and that would have been a huge mistake, but instead he's just going to do both players just kind of dancing back and forth here at the 4th and 5th. No sign of a 4th going up. Looks like Huk's actually going to take that 4th. Looks like Huk might actually charge up this ramp, and he's actually going to blink up. I'm not sure he has enough. Does he have enough to break a huge encounter, ladies and gentlemen? Colossi coming up, burning everything, but the Colossi count is still quite high, but the remainder of the army not quite enough, and EGIdra holds momentarily, and Huk, but luckily for Huk, he can reinforce his army quite quickly with the number of warp gates he has. But the problem is for EGIdra is that he hasn't taken any of the backbone of Huk's army. Huk can lose so many stalkers with his kind of macro right now, but if he starts losing Colossi, then he will be in trouble. Looks like he's going to go ahead and pop up his 4th, have 2 efficient mining patches here, and once this natural runs out, he'll be able to transfer all these probes straight to the 4th and be able to keep up with his macro. Let's go and take a look at the production tab. Looks like the Templar energy upgrade is being as well, so he's going to switch into a lot of storms, Colossi burning. Look at this, absolute, this is really going to melt EGIdra's army. EGIdra actually might be in a little trouble here, ladies and gentlemen. I think he should be taking his 5th, droning up a little harder, but he's forced to build the units because of the huge ultimate Protoss army that is rounding up here at the 4th base. EGIdra is forced to play in not a comfortable situation. He would much rather have a lot more drones. Taking a look at another drone count, still at 51 under 80. Things are not looking too good for EGIdra. His economy is just not enough at this point. He is so thin on drones, the saturation nowhere near where it should be. Looks like a couple more spine crawlers, just going for this slow spine crawler push. Coming in with some Broodlords to try to pick off a cannon, but blinking forward. Nice job by Huk, gonna actually lay out 1, which is quite big. Those are expensive. Lays out 2. Huk is in a great situation, surprisingly. He is playing very, very strong thus far. And EGIdra, look at this huge army. And this army, he is full psi. He can't really attack with it because he probably can't hold off a counterattack at this point. And he needs to attack because he needs to make some room for drones. But nonetheless, looks like he's going to pop out a 4th down to 50 harvesters. And look at all that storm. This is the ultimate army I was talking about. The ultimate force here for Protoss. I don't know if Zerg can possibly break this. Is EGIdra, or is he going to try to go for it? Is this the point of engagement he wants? Look at all these spine crawlers, ladies and gentlemen. Look at all of them, all across the map. This is more popular. This is getting more and more popular. EGIdra's really kind of started this slow spine crawler push, but nonetheless, EGIdra is still forced to play quite defensively. These players, both their armies have been in the same area the entire game, and it's just getting very, very interesting. I think Zerg is in trouble though, because these storms, these Hydras, with the help of these Colossi and storms, this is like the most expensive army Protoss could have possibly come up with. So he has to be very, very careful though, because if he possibly loses his army, it would be devastating. But EGIdra almost wants to go for it, but then realizing there is just no way I'm going to bust that, and this is favoring Huk. All this time macroing up is definitely favor Huk. He has a 4th base. Looks like there is a bit of an encounter. EGIdra's gonna go for it. Or Huk's gonna go for it, excuse me. Storming everywhere. Red and yellow and orange HP. But he still somehow gets forced back. But he didn't lose the backbone of his army again. Now he can just wait to reinforce his army. And still EGIdra can't climb down this ramp, because with the help of Force Field and the help of those Colossi, they would just burn through anything that Zerg could throw at him. So Zerg in a tough situation right now. EGIdra might have met his match, surprisingly. Huk is playing this brilliantly. I love the point of encounter. Really smart play. Not coming out in the middle of the map where he could be contained, or be surrounded, excuse me, and come from multiple angles. He's playing very, very smart right now. Some of the smarter play I've seen from Huk in the past, and he is really growing as a player, and it's great to watch. EGIdra is a top-level Zerg, and Huk is right there with him, ladies and gentlemen. The time in Korea looks to be paying off here. Taking a look at the harvester count, still only 47 drones. It keeps going down because he has to build the units. A couple Broodlords, but look at this army, quite thin. I do not think it's going to be able to deal with this 8 Colossi force coming his way, especially with the storms. Looks like he's still just going to dance back and forth. Neither player wants to commit, and looks like finally the 5th is up and running for EGIdra, and we might actually see, okay, probes being transferred. Whoa, that's a lot of probes. Looks like these probes are just going to start long distance mining, but luckily for EGIdra, he has that burrowed Zergling. That's going to cancel any chance of a Nexus going down for a moment until he can get units up there with an Observer to take care of that. But nonetheless, a couple drones being transferred. He realizes he is thin on drones. He's going to go straight for gas. Looks like EGIdra might possibly be moving down. I know I keep saying it, but it's hard to tell. Looks like Huk has reinforced his army to the middle of the base. He might actually be going to push through the middle. I liked his angle on this. Maybe he doesn't want to go through all the spine crawlers, but here come Broodlords, and Huk has no support thus far, but maybe he's just going to give up, realize I have mined all these patches. You can have that expansion, Mr. EGIdra, and that is exactly what it looks like he's going to do, and I like the play thus far from Huk. I really, really like it. Very smart play, allowing this base to go down. Now he's going to push through the middle, but unfortunately for him, there are a number of spine crawlers, but against this army, does it really matter? Can EGIdra possibly hold this, ladies and gentlemen? He is going to get encountered. Whoa, nice blink stalkers, and these Colossi are going to fry EGIdra's army. EGIdra might indeed just fall to Huk here, desperately trying to fight with the help of his spine crawlers, and he looks like he's going to back off momentarily, maybe to get some more storm in the army here. But EGIdra, in a bundle of trouble, does not have the economy to reinforce this army appropriately. 52 under 78 for Harvesters, with the base going up here for Huk. Finally, the Nexus is going up after he did kill that Zergling. Beautiful burrow, a Zergling from Huk to really delay, or from EGIdra to really delay. Wonder what this game would be like if Protoss unit cost money. And that is the infamous EGIdra rage that we all love to see, and some of us can't stand it, but nonetheless, I think EGIdra realizes he might just indeed lose this game, and you look at him, he is raging. Protoss army does cost money, and I would say to EGIdra, this was smart play, ladies and gentlemen. Not Imba, none of that. Protoss has been, oh wow, Ruffle. He knows this game is so over. I'm interested to see if he's going to DG here. Infamous play here from EGIdra, infamous trash talking. And Huk can have no part of it, not going to say anything. He is just going to burn through his opponent. Oh, fuck this game. Or wait, I shouldn't say that. Explanation point, @ number sign. $. He is not gonna, that's not, you can fill in the blanks, but nonetheless, GG, so-called, coming from EGIdra, and that is all, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for watching. Enjoy more commentaries coming from me, as well as check out TheReshNetwork.com. Huk playing brilliantly and stealing a game off EGIdra on the ladder. Thanks for watching, guys. That is all I have. Sunday signing out. Thanks, bye.